Hey guys, this is Ryan from TKK Collector at the Poke Chalet, and I am once again at the local gymnasium. Um, my son is a basketball fanatic. He's recently made the local traveling team, which means he's going to have a lot more practices and he's going to want to practice a lot more. So you're going to see a lot more videos of me waiting around, doing nothing, and making Pokemon videos. So let's talk about something that I wanted to talk about. Now, over the course of collecting, spending time in the hobby, one of the things that is really important is to be nice. And, ooh, that's super lame, right? So, I got an email today. It was from a customer, someone down in the States, and they were angry. So, when tracked shipping things arrive, Shopify will notify people, hey, say, hey, you got your package, aren't you happy, or some stuff like that. And this guy didn't get his package, or not. He was angry, and he must have ordered in the shop app or something like that, because he said, I was looking at the GPS and that's not where my house is, and you delivered it to the wrong house, all this stuff. I'm quite sure that the guy had something incorrect about his stability in the world. So he got really angry, sent a really nasty email to the Poke Chalet, wanting his money back. Canada Post screwed up his order. He's not even in Canada. Like, I used USPS to get him his things. Very angry, very mad and angry about the whole thing. So I said, well, can you confirm your address, and I'll make sure we open a ticket with USPS and see what happens. So I knew I'd have to refund the guy, right? He basically, refund and ban. Basically, he's just upset about something, and it had to be something about. Anyway, it was just like a $20 order, not a huge order, just a card. It had tracked shipping. It arrived. It's probably in his mailbox, but he was having a bad day, and he just let loose. And that, I'll ban him from the store. And I'm sure he doesn't really care. I'm a Canadian store. He's in the United States. There's a million other U.S. stores. But banned. Now, one of the things about being in the hobby, and this is really important, at least in the small town Nova Scotia, Halifax, is reputation. Being the good guy, being the guy who does the right thing. You got to be that guy. And it helps a lot when you're in the collecting, when people are trading with you. If you're nice, if you're good, if you're reasonable. When you're cranky, when you're dismissive, when you're like not at peace with yourself, you're going to have a hard time. And this is not just in the Pokemon hobby. It's basically in everything you do in life. You're going to have a hard time. And one of the things about collecting is you're always dependent on others. Now, there's a lot of different roles where you're dependent on others. So, trade, a purchase where you have to trust someone else. We could also have scenarios where you have to trust a vendor is not going to be weighing packs or resealing packs or all that stuff. Trust is really, really important in the hobby. And trust is built through good relationships. And if you're an ass static, if you're not a kind of person who's really understanding and reasonable, you're going to have a hard time in this hobby, and you're just going to be angry, and you're just going to be mad, and you're going to be excluded. Over the course of this week, a couple of admin things that had to happen with the local Pokemon group we had. Some guy was scamming some other group, and he was in our group, and because mods across groups talk, because people, if you're an admin in one group, you're probably in a couple other groups as well. So the guy got kicked, and he thought, he could do his scamming over there and keep, functioning normal over here. Nope, not going to happen. So admin action, we had to remove him. Gone. Now he lost. a huge amount of presence, right? Over here in Canada and in Halifax, the books, the Facebooks, the groups, the chats, the pages, that's where people communicate. That's where people sell their stuff to, back and forth to each other. That's where people trade. It's where people find cards. Nobody uses eBay in the east coast of Canada. Couple of odds and ends maybe, but people just don't use eBay. It's not a thing. I mean, you hear Rattle Pokemon talk about eBay all the time, and it's a mess trying to buy from eBay. Everything is expensive. A lot of the activity that happens in the hobby is trust-based, back and forth that goes in the Facebooks. And there's a lot of scammers in the Facebooks as well. It's unfortunate, but there's a lot of good people, and usually there's a lot more good people than there are bad people. But it brings you to life. Now, if you're making your way through life and all of the relationships that you have are stressed, meaning your relationship with your boss, your relationship with your peers, your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your brothers, your sisters, your relationship with your neighbor, your relationship with the guy who's walking the other dog up the street. If you're not a nice person, if you're a wigglet around those guys, around your brothers, around your neighbors, around your workforce, around your clients, around your customers, you're going to have a hard time. There's no muck about it. You're not going to do well in life if you're a negative person. You're going to get in bad relationships. So the concept is cream rises to the top, other stuff sinks to the bottom. And if you end up in that other stuff, you're going to end up with bad people. You're going to end up with sucky people. And if you're a good person, you're going to end up with more good people surrounding you. It's a fact of life. Good people begets other good people. Bad people, it's like a freight train. You see it happening. People arguing in public. People, having mean occurrences, like just being nasty. That sort of thing is going to break you. You're going to have a bad time in life. You're not going to have success. People are not going to do you favors. People are not going to think of you. People are not going to volunteer to help you. If you're a negative person, if you're constantly complaining, if you're not doing the right thing all the time, it's hard to do the right thing all the time. It's hard. But if you're not doing it any of the time, if you're always being selfish, life is going to eat you. It's just going to eat you. And you see these narcissists who, don't care about other people. Honestly, it's no way to be at all. It's going to harm you. Now, in collecting, if you have these relationships, people think about you. People say, oh, I like dealing with this guy. So I have a customer, and he works for Halifax Water, and I won't say his name, but I have a customer, and one day he came by, and I needed Halifax Water to dig up my front yard so that my plumber can turn off my water so that my project that was dependent on plumbing could continue. Customer. Just so happened to be Halifax Water came by, and he made it happen. Like, he got us to the top of the list. Like, never happens where Halifax Water was just like within hours shown up. You know what my customer did? Is because we have a good relationship, he got his buddies to bump us up. And that's cronyism, that's favoritism. Ugh, welcome to the real world. That happens all the time. So we were able to get our front yard dug up. They had the big, the hydro vac truck to dig up my front yard, find the water, shut it off, and it was like, my contractors have never seen this type of, let's call it moving and shaking. So never seen that happen because I had connections. And they were like joking around like, yeah, right, who has connections with Halifax Water? Who has connections with Nova Scotia Power? Who has connections with... I don't have connections because I work for them or because I have favoritism, but because I know the people. I'm nice to the people. I hope I'm nice. I hope I'm nice. But I was able to leverage relationships to not hurt anybody. Maybe the person who was supposed to get the hydrovac that day didn't, but I did. But I was good to the guy, and he did that favor to me. And guess what? Don't tell anybody, but I called him up and said, hey, I got Prismatic Evolution booster bundles for you to pick up. Now, big deal, right? Unfortunately, I didn't get many booster bundles, and I had to bundle them with other stuff that's not as hot right now and a little expensive. I had to bundle it with that other stuff. Now it all sold, right? Prismatic Evolution's like, psh. But this guy was like, I know he just wanted Prismatic, just got Prismatic because he did me that favor. And I have a couple of customers who are just getting Prismatic. They don't have to bite the bullet on the bundle. Some of my customers even bought the bundle bullet as well, which is awesome. But that's how it goes, right? You're making these relationships. You're doing the right thing. You're being the good guy. People think about you. If I have someone who's not a nice person, grumpy, giving me like damaged cards and not admitting to it, I'm not going to be very willing to do much. But then I have another customer who she's like, oh, there's a tiny little nick on this card. It's probably not worth full market. And I'm going to go through the cards and I'll do her right. I will definitely, if it's damaged or anything like that, it's fine. But she's very, very concerned about doing a good deal because we always do good deals. And when you have these relationships in Pokemon hobby collecting, when you have like the person who does a good deal and the person who gives you the good cards or the person who thinks of you and says, you know what? I just got a Rayquaza VMAX Alt Art from Evolving Skies in today, and I did. So I got a couple of guys, the bigger collectors, and I'm going to call them up. I'm going to say, hey, this big card came in. Are you interested? And I'll call them first before, I throw it up online for market. I'll call them first and see if they want to come by and pick it up because the relationships have been built. And you hear a lot of PokeTubers talk about this. They talk about having a good relationship with their LGS, having a good relationships with the vendors, the other vendors, having good relationships with their customers, having good relationships with, the store they buy stuff from. It's important. And Pokemon collecting is not like going into a grocery store and buying ketchup. It's different. You're going in and you're there for entertainment. You're there. I know everyone hates this word. You're there for the community. You're there for like shared interest, shared experiences. That's why you're into the collecting. You got to make sure that you're in it to have fun. You're there for fun. You're there for joy. You're there for happiness. That's what you got to be. You got to be there. So that's what I wanted to have this video about. I hope you guys enjoy these little discussions on the Pokemon hobby. From a store perspective, things are still going okay. January was crazy. February was pretty crazy. March is slowing down. If anybody's curious about the market, there's definitely a slowdown that seems to be happening, a little decrease in the pump, a little fatigue in the wallet, and with the news of the big reprints, with the surging in the Paldea and the Twilight, with that news, I think there's going to be a bit of a slowdown where people are like hesitant to jump onto packs. So that definitely could happen. There's going to be a bit of a slowdown. I think people are also now holding for Journey Together. People are going to want to rip that set, and no one is going to have it just like Prismatic, and that's what's going to happen. So I did my list. People are still contacting me to try to get on the list of Journey Together offers to buy, but I think the list is as long as it can be, unfortunately. As you guys know, I do what I can and have fun doing it. And again, like I said, you're going to see more of these videos from these gyms, from these places where I'm not near my Pokemon store. Reason being is my son Kai has decided that I don't know if he decided, but he's become really quite good at basketball. And he's recently made, and I'm very proud, father, etc., recently made the traveling team, which is a tournament team that cherry picks the best players and brings them around the province to play games. And he just barely got in. The coaches was like, the coach are giving him a chance. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's currently at the gym doing work right now. And I'm very proud of him. He's working hard. He's doing exercises every day. He's trying to get his vertical up. You guys have known Kai from the channel. He is like 5'10", and he just turned 12. So he's on his way to 6 feet within the next few months, probably. So he really wants to learn to dunk. And I'm very proud of him, but the nature of that is he's got a lot of work to do, a lot of jumping ahead of his career. So I hope you guys support him. He's also kind of pumped getting to 1,000 subs. So if you can, hit that sub, and we will do some opening soon if we can find something worth opening. And we will. Thanks, guys.